Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. I'm KP, Nick is here in attendance with me once again, and we're going to be going through our NXT Heatwave predictions for this coming weekend. So, NXT Heatwave, this is our very first NXT predictions video, so we're excited to get this one out there. Hopefully you guys are liking this one as well as our main roster stuff. So, how about we get started then? Let's dive into our very first match. This one is for the North American Championship. We have got Obafemi, the champion. He's putting his gold on the line up against Wesley, Mr. North American Champion, from those of you who've been watching NXT for a while. He held this title down like nobody else has in the history of the championship itself. And he finally gets a one-on-one matchup against Obafemi for the first time since he lost it. Well, for the first time since losing it a while back to Dominic Mysterio. So this is going to be quite the interesting scenario here, because there's a bit of a stipulation on the line here. Obafemi, he agreed to put this title on the line against Wesley, so long as it agrees to the stipulation. The stipulation is as follows. If Wesley loses this matchup, he can no longer challenge for Obafemi's North American title, so long as he is the champion. Couple of those going around recently this weekend. So yeah, quite interesting scenario here. Wesley is just so great. He's held this title so damn high. He's raised the prestige of it to the likes that we've never seen before, and he finally gets opportunity here. I personally think that Wesley is going to beat Obafemi. I think that Oba's had a great title run. I think he's done very well for himself in this one. I just think that Wesley not having another shot at the title, that just sort of like solidifies things for me, really. Like, I can't see him not having another shot at this. It's his title. Like, he's made such a reputation out of having it, and I genuinely think that he's going to win it back here at Heatwave. What do you think, Nick? Do you agree with me on this one? I think you said in a recent podcast that you think he will, but just to double check in case I'm mishearing things, in case I'm remembering wrong.
Yeah, unless I talk myself out of it here real quick, I do believe Wesley is going to get his title back. In feeling of deja vu, and like we just talked about, a similar stipulation for Maine. The only other kind of thought process I had was, okay, Wesley doesn't win here. He can't challenge for the North American. Is he ready for the NXT title? We recently discussed the fact that we didn't feel like the men's side on NXT was very stacked at the moment. So is Wesley ready for a main title? I certainly wouldn't be opposed to that. But it does kind of feel like getting back the title he technically didn't lose, kind of coming full circle, definitely makes for a more feel-good moment. So I think that's why I'm leaning towards, but I guess I won't be mad either if he were to lose, to help further solidify Obafemi and then maybe get him in the main title picture.
I think when it comes to Obafemi here, I think the logic that you used for Wesley and trying to enhance that men's division at the top, I think that would be perfect for Obafemi here. I think like he could take this title run, lose it to Wesley, and then he can go into the NXT title picture and he can be an absolute wrecking ball. He can just dismantle people up in that division, up in that particular side of things. And I think he'd be a welcome asset for that. I think he'd definitely raise the stakes of NXT's men's division up there. Not to say that Wesley wouldn't be able to do that, because I think he's one of the most talented individuals on the roster. I think that in terms of the men's division, he's one of the top guys. But I think that Obafemi, he's got that, for the casual fan, he's got that star image to him, doesn't he? Like, he's a big guy, he's powerful, he's pretty athletic for someone of his size as well. He's pretty quick on his feet, quite nimble, and he's got like a decent backing as well. The WWE Universe do quite like him, so I think he'd be a good fit in the NXT title picture. So that's something that I'm really hoping for out of this one. I think it's a win-win. Wesley wins the championship, fact that he helped get prestigious to no end. And then Obafemi, he goes into a NXT title picture with whomever is in that role as well. So, Obafemi with the win, that could be the way forward here. So how about we move along into our next matchup? This features Kalani Jordan. She's going one-on-one with Sol Ruka, and this one is for the Women's North American Championship. The first time this title is going to be defended on a PLE. So Kalani Jordan win this one back at Battleground. She defended the title up against, I believe it was Michin a few weeks ago on NXT. And Sol Ruka would win a one-on-one match against Ariana Grace in order to qualify for this one. Interesting dynamic here. Face against face, friend against friend. So there's no real sort of heat between these two, which is not apt for the PLE name. But no, in terms of how this one's going to go down, I really am not sure. I think this one's quite surprising here. Kalani Jordan, she hasn't had it for very long, so could it be a short reign? Well, I guess you could argue that it could be. Sol Ruka's brilliant. She's got a lot of talent. You know, she's incredibly athletic. She's got one of the best finishes I think going. To be honest with you, very likable character, good in ring. You know, she's got a lot going for her. The Kalani Jordan as well. She's incredibly talented. You know, just absolutely incredibly agile. Charismatic to no end as well. Like, she's very confident in herself. She believes in herself, and she's very good. She backs it up. But regarding the winner of this one, now I've ummed about this one for quite a while in the build-up here over the last week or so since Sol qualified. I'm gonna go with Sol Ruka. It probably sounded like I've decided that on the whim. I'm still not confident. I don't really know 100% how this one's gonna go down. Just because these two are friends, there's no real sort of logical situation here for me to determine a winner straight away. I am going to go with Sol Ruka. I don't know. My gut just tells me to pick her. That's literally all I've got on this one. Do you have anything more substantial then, Nick? Have you got anything more to go on off this?
I can't say I have anything more substantial, but it is a bit of a shame that this match is going on because I feel like both of these stars have really been trending upwards, and so it's a shame one of them has to lose. I mentioned on our last weekly recap that possibly Sol Ruka turning heel here, possibly. I don't know if you see that as a possibility or not, and maybe that's, some undermining tactic. That's how she gets her title. Because to me personally, I feel like Kalani just having won the title, I feel like it's too soon for her to lose it without kind of tarnishing her a bit. But that being said, as I mentioned, I think both of these women are trending upward, and I feel like Sol Ruka is more over at the moment, and so her winning as a babyface, I'm not ruling out. But just because it's how rarely we see the face-face dynamic, maybe that's what's going on. Or who's to say, Kalani couldn't turn? I don't see that happening. I feel like the Sol Ruka would be more possible. But yeah, I'm not confident at all. But I think Kalani's winning just solely because of the fact that it's a brand new title and she's hasn't had it for very long, and I feel like that would kind of tarnish her and the title in itself. I feel like you have an opportunity to just put on a good match here. Kalani wins, and they're both still trending upwards afterwards. But yeah, not super confident, but that's all I got.
I mean, fair. It's pretty. It's one of those ones that it shakes things up. It's not the status quo. It's different dynamics. So yeah, I'm interested. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, interesting how this one does take place. A heel turn would be wonderful. Not gonna lie, I think Sol Ruka as a heel would be quite badass. A little bit of arrogance, a little bit cocky. Yeah, I think it probably would suit her, but I don't know. Yeah, Kalani or Sol, this is going to be an interesting one. I have no idea. Just looking forward to a good match, right? So, into our next matchup then. This is a tag team contest. 2-on-2 for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Axiom and Nathan Fraser, they defend up against Chase U, Andre Chase, and Duke Hudson. Chase U in this one, they have had a bit of an odd build-up. It's been Ridge Holland trying to put in underhanded tactics to try and get the victory here. But Chase U, up until this past week on NXT, as of recording last night, they didn't actually know about Ridge's antics, and he is now no longer going to be going to Heatwave now that they've eventually found out. Duke would tell them in class what happened, and he would show some proof as well on top of that one. So Ridge is going to be out of this one. So potentially no underhanded tactics taking place here, but I don't know. That seems like it could be a red herring of some sort. In terms of like how they're going to counteract that, I don't know. Maybe Riley Osborne tries to do something and, a bit sneaky, gets away with it. I don't know. But I mean, Axiom and Nathan Fraser, they haven't had an easy run up until this. Constantly having to prove themselves as tag team champions. Nathan Fraser's been off doing other things. He's been off competing in the Speed Championship picture. He had an NXT Heritage Cup Championship picture against NXT Heritage Cup match against Tony D'Angelo. So yeah, Nathan maybe hasn't been prioritizing this tag team matchup, which as a tag team champion you probably should be doing. But Nathan wants more. He wants more gold. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. And Axiom has sort of been taking that personally. I don't blame him, to be honest with you. If he's not in the right mindset, then can he trust his tag team partner? I don't know. It's hard, isn't it, really? But regarding a win of this one, it's tough. I think that Axiom and Nathan Fraser are brilliant together as a tag team, but they do seem to be hinting at, some dysfunction between the two of them. I think something's going to happen here, and Chase U is somehow going to get the win. In terms of what exactly is going to take place, I couldn't really tell you, but yeah, I'm going to go Chase U to pick up the win here, and then Axiom and Nathan Fraser maybe go on like a spiral out of this one. Yeah, a little bit of like back and forth between the two of them. They seem to have been teasing that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go new champions crowned here. I'm gonna go with Chase U getting the win.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you here. I think just because Axiom and Nathan Fraser maybe not being on the same page, I feel like if they're going down that route of them kind of spiraling out, possibly breaking, I feel like that would be much further down the line. I feel like that's too quick, personally. And then, even if they're 100% not on the same page either, Chase U having their issues as well with Holland, maybe he ends up showing up anyways, despite being told not to. That could potentially be a possibility. And so if that's the case, neither team 100% on the same page. And so maybe that kind of nulls each other out, in which that case I would give the advantage to Axiom Nathan Fraser to retain.
Big disagreements all around here by the looks of things. Maybe we'll agree on something soon, but your logic is sound, to be fair. I'm probably overthinking things here, but yeah, I think further down the line would make a little bit more sense regarding Axiom and Nathan Fraser. But hey, let's see what happens. Should be an interesting contest. Looking forward to seeing who wins on that one. Okay, into our next matchup then. Let's discuss Lola Vice taking on Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. So Lola, in recent weeks, has really gone after Roxanne Perez, almost out of nothing originally, but essentially building up into a very credible threat. Sort of like trying to form an alliance with Roxy, neither woman really trusting each other 100%. And then afterwards, Roxanne Perez hitting a back fist on Lola, taking her down. A week later, Roxy would try the same thing. Lola would block it and then hit her with essentially the same move. She calls it the 305. And, flooring Roxanne in the process. Last night on NXT, there would be a confrontation between the two of them in the ring. They'd have a lot of words to say between the two of them. And Lola getting quite emotional in that one. Maybe sort of like hinting that this one does mean a hell of a lot to her. Different side of Lola Vice that we haven't really seen before. And that was quite surprising. That was quite the difference in her character. So that's just sort of like opens up another layer in this one. Maybe sort of like has a, something else to really go off of there. But in terms of the winner of this matchup, when you've got Roxanne Perez, you've got Lola Vice. Roxy's had a great title run so far. It's been absolutely wonderful. It's been brilliant. Didn't really think that she'd be able to hack it as a heel originally, but she turned my head. She's made me think that, she can do this one. And, I got to give her respect for, being able to do that. In terms of the win, though, this one's a very difficult one because Lola Vice seems to be in the best sort of condition that she's been in, really, like mentally, physically, cannibal threat. She seems to be up there now, and she is definitely a worry here for Roxanne Perez. I personally am going to go with a Roxanne win. I think it's going to be a successful defense here from Perez. I am open to hearing thoughts regarding any other opinions, so maybe a Lola Vice win. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm 100% confident on this one either. This is quite the interesting card because I haven't really had a definite this is going to happen moment just yet. But maybe Wesley and over Femi, I suppose. But I don't know. There's a chance that could go the other way after us having a little bit of conversation. But yeah, this one is also on that sort of mindset for me here. I'm going to go with Roxanne. Yeah, Roxanne Perez, Lola. Then again, when you but. No, I'm going to go Roxy. I'm going to go with Roxy. Roxanne to win. What do you think, Nick? Are you a bit more confident than I am?
We almost got a decision change right there on the spot. Yeah, this is. I was just saying the same thing. This is a card that certainly doesn't give me any warm fuzzies in my predictions, and I will not be ashamed to come back here next week and have gotten every single one wrong. I think it's a great kind of shout to NXT and just the matchups they built here. In terms of this one, Lola and Roxanne, this one's a head scratcher for me too. And the promo that Lola had last night, kind of showing a more vulnerable side and what felt like almost a bit of a face turn, I want to say, which was strange to me. A, didn't see it coming, and B, like she's been very, very heelish, and then to drop that last night kind of leads me to think that maybe they did that because if Lola wins here, we have a face champion, and that's the route they're going. It just doesn't feel natural to me. I didn't feel like, and I feel bad for saying this, but the story that she told, whether it be true or not, and then kind of just her character to date, it just didn't go well. It didn't vibe for me. I didn't feel like it was sincere. So with that being said, I feel like everything's been going Lola Vice's way, but I think Roxanne is she's the prodigy for a reason, as she said, and I think this rivalry will continue. I think Lola will eventually get the title from Roxanne, but not today. I think Roxanne keeps her title, and that's maybe a smidge more confident than you, but not much at all.
I think we're picking hairs there, aren't we, really? It's very fine margins as whether the confidence is really there compared to mine. Yeah, it's difficult. It really, really is. That I wasn't going to mention like my opinions based on the promo last night from Lola, but I kind of do agree with you. I think it maybe was a little bit insincere. It sort of came that way anyway. I mean, I fully will apologize if it was sincere, but it just almost seemed a little bit forced. But perhaps it wasn't. I don't know. It could be one of the situations where it's just not come off completely correctly. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, Roxanne winning, I feel probably makes most sense at the moment. Like you said, Lola's had the upper hand for most of this build-up. So I guess in situations like that, we see a lot of the time the champion then comes up, trumps in the end. I have heavily criticized the NXT title picture for a little while now, for probably about 4, 5, 6 weeks. Just haven't really been the biggest fan of what's going on. I feel like this is the best of what we've got right here, right now. With these 4, in the current situation on the roster, I feel like it doesn't really get much bigger than this. And that includes somebody who's literally making their PLE debut and somebody who's making their second PLE match. So it's quite fascinating a dynamic now, the men's division on NXT, in terms of like the top prize. It honestly feels like at the moment, and this is a bold claim, that the North American Championship is actually a bigger scene than the NXT title picture is. But hey, that's a conversation for another day. Trick Williams defending here against these 3 men. This could go a number of ways. You could say Trick will win. It's too early for him to lose the title, right? That's fair. It's a complete logical way of thinking about it. Javon Evans, you could say, nah, he won't win. He's only been here, 2 minutes? He ain't going to win. He's very young challenger here as well. They've been making a lot out of that in the build-up, so maybe you could use that as leverage to say, oh, actually, he could win. They've been taking a lot of mick out of his age, and, maybe he'll provide that as an upset. Sean Spears, the veteran, really, so to speak, in all of this, his second time round here in NXT. I think there's a good cause for him winning with this one. You know, having beaten Trick Williams in the build-up, having beaten Javon Evans. Yeah, you know, there's leverage there. And then Ethan Page, I feel like he is like the biggest wild card out of this one because he had the match against Trick Williams, essentially nullifying his chances of getting another opportunity. But yet here he is. You know, he's worked his way back into it. You know, fair play to him. He beat Javon Evans in a matchup recently. He wasn't eliminated from the Battle Royal. You know, he's got some shouts as well. So I feel like everybody here really has like a case to really pick up the win. If I had to pick one of them, I'm probably going to go with Trick Williams. I just think that it's probably too early for him to lose the championship. But I would be very open to seeing a title change here. I think Trick will win, but I would like Sean Spears to win. That's my understanding of this one. Yeah, I just simply see it's too soon. You know, you go over Ilya Dragunov of all people, you're going to have a decent reign, you know? And I don't think Trick's really had that yet. So I think he needs to have it a bit longer, needs to prove himself a bit more in the main title picture, and then we can talk about him losing it going forward. But that's my opinion. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I feel like I'm becoming a bit redundant in that I don't have a ton of confidence in this one, but definitely more so confidence than I have had in the last few. I think it's too early for Trick to lose, and I don't feel that anyone here is quite ready to dethrone him. You know, you brought it up earlier with the North American title on the men's side, and kind of got my mouth watering a bit over maybe a Trick going up against essentially, I guess, the loser of that match in Wesley or Obafemi. Kind of intrigues me more at this point. I don't have a ton of reasoning behind it outside of just the reign has been short to date. Yeah, that's all I got. I think Trick to retain here. The other three kind of to shoot themselves in the foot, and then if you want to hold any water in the theory that the go home show, both the faces stood tall here last night at NXT. But I'm just not letting that one. I'm not letting this certain match kind of persuade me in that sense. So I think I just don't get warm fuzzies thinking about anyone else here beating Trick, and I don't think the other face would win either. So yeah, I'm sticking with my guns. I think Trick to retain here, and then maybe we'll get the NXT North American men's side loser here up here in the main title picture.
I'd be very happy with that. Yeah, I think that is, as you said, mouthwatering, isn't it, really? I think either of those men, really, whoever it would be a great fit, would be a great asset to this whole championship scene. Yeah, they're missing something. I think one of those guys can provide a different side of things, a different edge to the whole situation. But yeah, Trick Williams winning, I think it does make a bit of sense. Maybe the most out of everybody. Who knows? But it should be a great match, right? I think we can agree on that one. Fatal 4-way. You know, a lot of different dynamics in this one. You know, I think it should be quite a fun watch for sure. But NXT Heatwave, they are all the matches there, guys, in terms of what we're going to be discussing here today. Before we do close this one out, is there anything that you'd like to add on to this one, Nick, or is that everything discussed?
Yeah, and I didn't want to be perceived as thinking what could potentially be the main event of the NXT title match. You know, looking forward to it, and it should be a great match. I just, as you kind of alluded to, I just don't feel like it's that particular title scene and that match just not quite doing it for me at the moment. But yeah, it should be, you know, clearly we don't have a ton of confidence in a lot of those picks, so it should be a fun watch. The only other thing I had was that this being in Toronto, kind of a 3-day thing. You know, you have Friday Night SmackDown, you Money in the Bank on Saturday, and then Heatwave being Sunday. Typically have a lot of high hopes for the Canadian crowd. I just hope that they're not burnt out at this point, because that's a lot of wrestling over one weekend. So, but hopefully they show up and show out for all 3 shows, and we come back here next week excited to talk about what happened.
Canadian crowds do tend to be pretty good, don't they? They tend to be quite loud. So yeah, hopefully they do bring that energy, bring that heat as aptly named pay-per-view PLE suggests. But yeah, a lot of wrestling should get a lot of people interested and should be able to bring that noise. And hey, it can't be quieter than NXT Battleground was, right? That was quite the polar opposite experience to what we're hoping for this weekend, that's for sure. But hey, let's get the decibel meters out and let's see if they can get those numbers up pretty damn high, like Glasgow and Lyon were able to do. But hey, to everybody listening in, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you all for popping on in. And if you have any comments that you want to, let us know of, then feel free to let us know in the comment section, whether you agree, disagree with everything that we've said, whatever. You've got some other theories, please let us know. If you like what we're putting out here, please hit a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will be releasing more videos very, very soon. So, hey, thank you, everybody, once again for tuning on in. This has been The Push with Nick and KP, and we'll see you all in the next one. Thanks, everybody, and goodbye.